morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to CrossExaminations Live. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. Just call me Mike. Today's topic is hashtag Great Joys Movement. Great Joys! This is a response to Alyssa Milano boasting about her abortions, giving her great joys. Tony Danza, why can't you set this woman straight? Oh, Tony Danza, where are you? Anyways, who's the boss, right? It was Who's the Boss. I do recall it correctly. Tony Danza is the boss, not Alyssa Milano. Anyways, man, my computer is super slow today, but that's okay. I'll just reboot it at some... Oh, it's warm. So weird. It hasn't been on that long. Something's going... Alright, I'll just use this computer over here. And... Hopefully everyone is having a wonderful Saturday today so far. 12 people watching. Oh my gosh, that video unavailable thing popped up real quick. I was like, no! Alright, let me pop out this chat so I can see you all. So I can chat with you alls over here. Alright, let's say hello to our guests. Hey, guess who's first? What's up, Aaron? Chuck Keyworth pulling in a second place. Lady Celtic Moon rounding out the top three. David Rogers, Dark Admiral, March Hare. Nasser Rabadi, what is up, manas? X-Gal, Toy Bandit, Jalapeno Milk, Yo-Yo, Cubs to Dawn, WK. What did happen last night? Oh, why did I... Oh. So last night we had some technical difficulties, and it was replete across... gosh, this looks crooked. Across the YouTubeverse was people couldn't stream. People couldn't get live streaming to work under... Didn't matter if you were using Restream or Stream... Whatever. What's it called? Stream... Something? That duck one. Or... OBS. It didn't matter. Nothing was working. Nobody could stream. And so we were all there in the room waiting, trying to get a stream up and going. And Gary's like, oh, my stream's just started working. So we're like, all right, everyone to Gary's house. So we all piled in the mystery machine and went to Gary's, and we were streaming from there. And then after about a half an hour or so, my stream kicked in and started working. So I'm like, all right, everybody back to my place, because I wanted a bigger audience. Gary, we couldn't get much over 80 people watching at a time. And so we bumped it over to my house, and we were streaming there. But it was such a terrible beginning that I'm just like, all right, I'm not gonna keep this up, so there's no reason to keep it up. I do have it listed as private so that I can keep a record if I need to go back and find who ordered what. But honestly, I only sold like 4 things anyways, so super light night, probably the lightest night. And my wife's like, see, you should have gone to dinner with me. I'm like, but yeah, I should have gone to dinner with my wife. Oh well. Auctions were funny last night, says Peter. Dark Admiral says, last night's streaming was the equivalent of rabbit ears. Yeah, it was bad. Oh, and then to top it all off, one of our highest bidders, our biggest supporters, Dennis Peruch, his text wasn't working, so he was in the middle of bidding on one of my pieces, and then suddenly he just stopped bidding, and John did the countdown, and then like a second after the countdown, Dennis was like, what? No, what happened? Because he was still trying to bid, but his for some reason his YouTube was getting all janky, so that cost me money. That probably might have cost him a piece of art. It was just a horrible mess. And then P Money's in here timing people out for no good reason. Hey, DJ Peterson caught a Saturday. Right on, rock and roll. Welcome to the party, pal. So, at any rate, yes, yesterday was the greatest Clusterstop of a auction ever, but it was still fun. Still fun. You got lucky. Miggs was late too. Yeah, well, it was just, it was supposed to start at 7. Didn't start till what, 8:30, something like that, and on a different channel. So it was all just very, very, very confusing, and it was what it was, man. All things happen for good to those who love God and are called according to His purpose. I hate that I missed out on Gary's Spider-Man piece. Yeah, you guys gotta, I hate to make people set aside their Fridays to do this, but if maybe we should post up what we want to sell. I mean, I had this up as a flash, a lightning round for $75 out the door, and nobody even wanted it. I mean, that's how slow it was getting. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna turn this into a hangout. And honestly, I think people are tapped out on Injustice. That's alright. I'll save them. The hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of Injustice I have, I'll save them for some future where people care about that stuff. Dark Admiral says it was fine. I fell asleep. See, I don't want people falling asleep during the auctions. It's that monotonous countdown, right? The countdown puts you to sleep. It's like you're at the dentist chair. Okay, count down from 100 to 0, and you're like 99. Yeah, withheld. We'll get to your comments, withheld. Actually, let's get to your comment right now. Actually, let's get to all of them. From yesterday's show, The Devil's Plan for Trump, which has had 253 views. Not a bad episode. Patrick Swayze said, cut cross-examinations by 30 minutes. More time for Legos. Well, I don't know about that. I think we're here. This is ministry time. So, Lady Celtic Moon said, sorry, missed stream, was cleaning house and no notifications this time around. You guys getting notifications this time around? I can't even tell. Let me look here. How many people are on? Default view. 23 watching while it is a Saturday. It is a Saturday. I understand. They're already not long enough. Oh, yeah. Well, by the way, yeah, hit that like, hit that share, do all that fun stuff that we do here. You know how we do. I'll do it myself. Share. Tweeters. Tweet. And, yeah, someone asked if I am back on Twitter. In a very, very limited capacity. Very limited. And, it just took the muting and the blocking of certain people to make it almost tolerable. So, in a very limited capacity. You like this time frame now? Well, Lady Celtic Moon, I can't always make this time frame. I try. I do try. Chuck you with yes, Friday Night Auctions was all discombobulated in the beginning. Alright. Epic Trilogy says, just an FYI, Mike. I was trying to click on the video yesterday, but it disappeared. The notification 12 hours ago shows a blank video screen and leads to nowhere. And the timestamp here says it was live streamed 18 hours ago. Weird. I think I caught the show or part of it. You're not talking about this one, right? You're talking about Friday Night Auctions? Wait, 18 hours ago. Was that 18 hours ago? Yeah. But that was 4 hours ago, so that was almost... Oh, so that was this show. That's weird. It's playing for me. Brian Testa said, Trump is Lord. He is chosen one. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think he was chosen, but all our leaders are chosen, one way or another. SV says, I'm a Trump Orthodox Catholic. And here we go with withheld rather not say. Cough, cough, sketch therapy, cough, cough, cough. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sketch is that lost sheep, you know, man. He's that lost sheep. But he's turned into a rabid sheep, so it's very difficult to go after him. Sorry for how I acted yesterday as of this writing. I was having a bad day. We could tell withheld. Hope you're better today, brother. I don't want or think I should be forgiven for my bad behavior. Should you be? None of us should be, but yet we are. Isn't that wonderful? I'm glad to be part of this fellowship, but why don't you want EVS on? He hasn't done anything wrong from what I've seen. I don't want to start anything, so apologies if I mess up again by mentioning him. Last time I saw, he still liked you, Mike. I don't want to discuss it. I said that in the thing. Appreciate it. Thanks. Withheld said, oh, wait, was there anything else on? Yeah. I drew Earthworm Jim as a wang today. I don't plan on posting it to Twitter. I drew it out of malice for how he acted, and I think it was wrong. Well, if you think it was wrong, then it was wrong. That's not subjective morality. That's God convicting you. Anyways, that was the show yesterday, the commentary from yesterday. Let us move on. Bitcoin at 10,080 right now. Good time to buy. Just not financial advice. Anyways, Bone Star now has a friend either way. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. It's too bad you liked Sketch. Forgiveness is a thing of mercy. You may not deserve it. We're happy to give it. Also, I don't really know what happened, so I'm not passing judgment either way. What happened with Sketch? I went after War Campaign, and Sketch is loyal to War Campaign over his brothers in Christ. So that about boils it down. And then he went crazy on me. And now he attacks me every single time we're on the same stream together. Like in the same chat together. Same thing he did to Pope Fire. And I didn't believe her. Poor girl. Sorry, Pope. Sorry, Pope. Now he's doing it to me. What exactly did War Campaign did? I am not delving into that whole bag of worms. Edwin, you want to come on? You can help me avoid talking about this stuff. Mike muted me. Did I mute you, Chuck? Alright. Let me get a window open for you. Let's get a window open for Edwin Boyette. Edwin Boyette. Let's start a window and get that Edwin to visit us today. Alright, hold on. I'm sorry, but I should have come up with a better song. Copy link to share. Copy link to share. All right, close. Zoom this over here, and I'm gonna drop it in the CrossExaminations. Oh, there you go. You were responding. Paste. Paste. All right. And I will prep you for entry, my brother. I will prep you for entry, which is Chrome Hangout, which I have accidentally changed. Properties. Hangouts, video, call. Okay. Hello, my friend Edwin. How are you? Edwin?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Put my microphone closer. I had it out of the way. I was I was practicing Age of Empires
Ah! Oh man, that sounds like fun right now.
today.
All right.
Oh man,
Bam.
you butchered that hymn the other day. Maybe you've
I-
never heard.
I've never heard it. We don't do old Baptist hymns. Well, that's not true. We've done some stuff, I guess, but it's not a regular thing at my church.
Yeah, I'm looking at like half the hymns we're singing sometimes, and they're all old.
Yeah, our church, we do some of those Hillsong songs, but we've got our own band, and they write a lot of their own stuff, and they do some fantastic music. So.
Now we've started doing some of that because our pianist is that kid
Watch your
is-
mouth.
he,
Oh, can't hear Edwin. All right, sorry. There you go. All right, start all over.
We were talking about Mike and I were talking about old Baptist hymns, and I was giving them a little guff for butchering this one. Can you see this?
Well,
Let's
it's
Is it tiny?
tiny on my screen. Yeah.
Let me see if I can make it more. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Let's
Moses.
see what that looks like on the YouTubes. Where did I put your YouTubes? There you go.
Why are you asking me, man?
I'm a boomer, so I've got. Oh yeah, boy,
Down, Moses.
on YouTube that just looks like nothing. But here you go. Let's see. So the chorus is the main part, and it's count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done.
Yeah, you're butchering it too,
Count your
man.
Blessings, name them one by one. Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't sing, man. I think we've established that time after time.
It's true. Dark Admiral says, "Don't hate on the hymns, Blacklist Universe." I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying we don't sing them, so I don't know them. I don't know. I don't sing.
We use a real old-timey Baptist hymnal. I think it was probably printed in like 1968 or something.
So is it too trolly to have this have a cold 2020? It's totally worth it image up on the screen.
What does that mean?
Oh, you don't even understand. Really?
No.
Okay, I should probably not mention it then.
2020. Is it a Trump thing?
No. It was a promise. You know, if I wanted to put my faith first and continue with my trolling.
What does
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm missing something. I'm trying to draw
Okay,
the
I'm just going to
connection
tell you what it
between-
is. I'm going to tell you what it is, but then we're going to move on.
All right.
All right. It was when Ethan said if Mike wants to do this crap, he's going to have a cold 2020.
Oh.
And then the it's totally worth it part was after the 3-part EVS versus Doug stream, it was the last thing he left in the chat. He said,
Oh,
I hope it was
see.
worth it, Mike. So,
You do have a froward mouth, Mr. Miller.
all right, we'll move on. Too meta. Apparently,
No,
some people
that's
don't get
funny.
it.
I was
gonna make t-shirts.
to make that connection.
I was
Yeah,
gonna start making shirts.
it's very esoteric. You have to. Oh wow, your camera just got like 5,000 times better.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking at everything and it was all blurry as heck.
No. That needs to be a member emoji now. It would be too small to read. I could just do cold 2020.
Code 2020.
That's not bad. I could do that. All right. I'll do that. Cold 2020 for the.
Oh, let me share out the stream. I didn't do that. How many people do we have watching this morning? Hello, all you good people out in the YouTube lands.
Aloha.
Oh man, did you hit all the comments from last week?
I did, or from yesterday.
Yeah. And that's
Wait, did
how
you
you
see?
do it,
Did you
folks.
see the little thing on the screen?
Let me go back.
Oh,
The
here,
20. It was so blurry, man. I couldn't
Okay,
tell what I
here,
was.
I'll pop it up again just so you can see what it is. So all I did, I googled a 2020 beer and I found one. And then in one of my streams, I'm like, "This episode brought to you by 2020 IPA. Have a cold 2020. It's totally worth it."
You are a troll, Miller.
A little bit.
Are.
I'm a bit of a troll. It's true. All right.
Like,
Dark Admiral says, "Now I want a beer, Blacklist Universe. Not the time." Hey. Jesus turned water into wine, baby.
Yes,
Water
he did.
into wine.
Now, this is one issue I have sometimes with Southern Baptist, because if you look at and I grew up Southern Baptist, but in researching that word wine, and maybe somebody is a better biblical scholar than I am, it's not grape juice. It's wine.
No, nobody serves grape juice at a wedding.
Yeah. And even when Paul is talking to Timothy, and he says, "Have a little wine for your stomach,"
Yeah.
He's not talking about having some grape juice. Grape juice has never made my stomach better. In fact, probably the opposite.
Yeah, mix a little water with your wine, or a little water with your wine. So yeah, wine is a good. It's just
well, I think it's the
not so much. You don't take that much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I will drink a little wine, but a bottle of wine will last me a week. Sometimes it'll turn before I can finish it, because I have a glass of wine and I sip it.
Yeah, and it was red wine, so it was very high in polyphenols. So having wine every day is really good for you.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a source of, yeah. But once you go much past that one glass of wine, then the extra alcohol cancels out the effects of the polyphenols.
You go from positive to negative.
And if you think about that in context, whenever you read about Timothy, because Paul is constantly like encouraging him to kind of like man up a little bit. Right? And if you look, I think it's particularly in 1 Timothy. All right, he's lecturing them about how to be a pastor, but he kind of gives them some man up, some like pep talks. Yeah,
be a man.
Because what Timothy was raised by his mother and grandmother, and we don't learn a whole lot about his father, but we understand that he gained his faith from his mother and his grandmother. I think, do we learn that in Acts at first, or does that come out?
I don't remember where it is exactly.
Yeah, but he kind of urges Timothy on, and so when he tells him to take a little wine for his stomach, you kind of get the context that Timothy was probably kind of a nervous man.
Yeah, nervous stomach.
Yeah,
he got the runs a lot.
Yeah, and I when I was young and I've over drinking. And I drank too much, to the point of excess. You've got that courage that comes from a bottle of whiskey, right? But I've never chugged a flagon of grape juice, of Welch's grape juice, and said, all right, it's time for fighting. I want to bust some heads now.
Let's do it. Lady Celtic Moon says water was not safe to drink back in the time of the Bible. I always hear this, and I don't buy that at all, Lady Celtic Moon.
Well, now our ancestors were not dumb, and one of the ways that water was kept safe, or different fluids and things, it was kept in copper pots or even silver vessels. and the copper or the silver would act as a natural bactericide, right? And kind of kill off anything that was floating around. So things that were stored in copper urns or in silver urns would last longer.
I didn't know that, but I don't know this whole thing. We get so paranoid about drinking stuff, but man, I was a kid. I probably would have drank out of a river.
Yeah, well, I did when we were well, I grew up out in the country, yeah.
Yeah.
And
running water generally considered safe to drink. Generally, standing water bad.
And so sometimes me and my friends would leave the house, you know, at daybreak after breakfast, you know, toss some snacks in a backpack, fill up a canteen or something like that, and just go range through the woods. And when you ran out of water, you just, you know, you went to the stream.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
I wouldn't drink river water. I wouldn't drink river water. Not where I'm from, but like stream water.
Yeah. People won't drink out of the hose anymore. That's how paranoid we are about our water.
Well,
it's like,
oh my gosh, you just let it run. You just let it run. I mean,
we did chemical tests and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. Man, I can't tell you how many gallons of water I drank out of the hose when I was a kid.
Yeah, your dad probably just stuck it in your face and said,
hose water was the best water. You're outside, you're running around all day long, you're skateboarding, you're getting sweaty and exhausted. You're like, crank that hose up, and you just shove the thing in your mouth, and you're like, it was the best hose water, man. And now people are like, oh, excuse me, my bottle. I have to have my water from my bottle.
Mm-hmm. You just flush it all out. Yeah, you don't drink the water that's been sitting in the hose because
it's hot.
Yeah.
The water in the hose is hot. Water. You run it out, get that cool, refreshing part running, and you're like, this is mother's milk.
I grew up with. I think the town I was in, the water wasn't fluoridated till later because I remember in kindergarten they were making us take fluoride tablets and stuff, and
they just poison you with tablets instead of putting it in the water.
But I grew up in the country, so we had well water. So
yeah,
which is good because a recent study just determined that the fluoride,
not good.
Some of you guys are sitting around sometimes and you're just kind of staring vacantly into space, or you're looking at your windowsill and you're thinking, those paint chips look tasty. I sure wish I had a helmet. Well, because your mother drank a lot of fluoridated water, it reduced your IQ. I'm sorry. It's not your fault.
WK says, when I was a kid, we used to say it was clean after it ran over 7 creek rocks. You know, weirdly, there's a river in South America. I don't know if it's part of the Amazon or what, but it runs over it's salt water. It like runs backwards, and somehow or another it runs over sand and desalinates.
Interesting.
As it goes over the sand.
You sure it's not the clean water coming in?
It's not. I watched this whole thing on it, and I'm like, that is the most freaking bizarre thing. So somehow or another, the sand like draws stuff out of the water, in this case, salt, right? And then it becomes fresh, clean water that freshwater fish can live in. And I'm like, so what he's saying, even though it was like, facetious or whatever, there could be some particular filtering element in the minerals that it runs over. I don't know. I have no idea. Kind of like a filter, says DJ Peterson.
I'm gonna have to look that up later on. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was. I found it particularly bizarre. I'm like, why don't we just desalinate all kinds of water like that?
All right. Well, just because we're here, I've got to go into the Gospel of John now. Give me a moment.
Do it. All right. After that, we're going to jump into the topic of the day.
Let's see. Where did I put it?
Seamus says his well water gives him bone cancer.
Whoa. All right, here we go. Gospel of John, I'm in chapter 4. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria. Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. And Jesus, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. And Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, when I am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank therefore of himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. And that is the Gospel of John, chapter 4.
I kind of knew you were going there.
It was a helpful segue.
All right, segueing into today's topic. Let me sorry, Edwin, I'm gonna make you disappear for a minute here.
Oh no. Ooh, through the magic of the interwebs.
Through the transition. Pastor starts hashtag Great Joys movement after Alyssa Milano boasts about her abortions.
Oh, my wife trolled her on Twitter because of that. I think, and it's not very Christian, but I think my wife hit her with a hashtag skank.
Oh.
She had 2 abortions in the same year.
Hashtag Whore of Babylon. In response to Alyssa Milano's tweet that her previous abortions allowed her great joys in life, the pastor of Harvest Christian Fellowship asked Twitter followers to post a photo of their children with the hashtag Great Joys. Jared Wilson, pastor at Harvest Christian Fellowship and founder of the nonprofit Anthem of Hope, posted a tweet Wednesday. Everyone should post a picture of their kids and use the hashtag Great Joys, he said in his tweet. Well, obviously. Aww, cute little towheads. Children are our future and a blessing from God, not a burden that so many people, specifically people who are only focused on their own achievement and goals, make them out to be, Wilson told Faith Wire. Milano had previously talked about her past abortions on her podcast, Sorry Not Sorry, in the 1990s. She said she had 2 abortions months apart from each other. Not a bright woman. She added that abortion was absolutely the right choice for me because she was not ready to be a parent. Well, there's other choices, genius. My life would be completely lacking all its great joys. I would never have been free to be myself. Me. It's all about me. I see your little eyeball. And that's what this fight is about. Freedom. Yeah, freedom from consequences is what she's talking about. But Wilson said children aren't a burden. I believe our world needs to stop treating them that way. He said whether she wants to admit it or not, she now has 2 children in heaven whom she will never experience the joy of parenting. Is choosing abortion unforgivable? Wilson added. Not at all, but I believe Alyssa's views on the subject to be both harmful and mentally disturbing. He also asked that Milano reconsider her view on abortion and parenthood. I don't know Alyssa personally, Wilson said, but I'm praying she really thinks about the totality of what she's saying on public platforms, especially in regards to situations that encompass the reality of life and death. Yeah, abortion, just like all leftist principles, whatever you want to call them, to me, I believe, are an attempt to avoid personal responsibility. Abortion is just the most nail-on-head issue.
What is it with so many of these middle-aged women who have just passed the point of childbearing, or maybe even to their 50s? And this tends to be on the liberal perspective, the very leftist perspective, just trying to glamorize and celebrate the taking of life or the ending of life before it can even manifest.
Maybe they're just so close to that cutoff date. I don't think Alyssa Milano's too old to have kids.
She's older than me. She's 46, and she's about a week older than me.
Oh, so she's
right there where
she's
it's
right there. She's
yeah.
right there. If she's even trying to have kids right now, it's probably difficult.
Yeah.
But glamorizing that she had some 2 abortions in her 20s.
In the same year, Mike.
Yeah.
In the same year. That is. And then brags that she wouldn't have had her wealth or her acting career or her fame.
She wouldn't have had her fame. She was a child star. I'm pretty sure.
Well, she had him in 1993, so she had him when she was a star
21. In the 80s. She was Who's the Boss was in the 80s.
I guess so. Did she do anything in the 90s?
Charmed.
Oh yeah, Charmed. Yeah.
Yeah, Charmed. She was a witch, so I guess she couldn't.
Boy,
couldn't play a pregnant witch.
That's a little too on the nose, huh?
Yeah. Man, where's Tony Danza when you need him?
Right.
Get in there with the switch, Tony. You spared the rod.
Who's the boss? Or at least Charles Baio, yeah?
Oh yeah, that's Charles in charge. Let me see here. I'll crop this real quick. Sorry. Could you tackle the chat for a second?
Yeah. Let's see. Dee Dee Willingham says she was PG on the fashion show last year. I'm not sure what PG means.
Who was?
Dee Dee says she was, Alyssa was PG on the fashion show last year.
Did she have a kid?
Are you saying she's pregnant, Dee Dee? Alyssa. Somp with Camel says, should I use a condom? Nah, I'll just murder the baby later.
Personal responsibility. Personal responsibility, man. I think that is the defining distinction between the left and the right.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because of the way society has changed. Our total fertility rate has dropped, and it's so bizarre because all these people want this particular lifestyle and they want to vote for all these social programs. But I mean, just from a pragmatic sense, there is like not going to be enough people around to take care of these people, to pay for taxes. Like anybody that's under 30 right now, you're not going to get Social Security. You're not going to be able to retire unless you just earn a living, and are able to save up enough. And then when you do get old, there's not going, unless they come up with AI controlled geriatric robots, there's not going to be anybody to take care of you when you're old and feeble. There's just not going to be enough people.
Yeah. Jalapeno Milk asks, is it true that abortion makes it harder to have children later? A judgment, perhaps? Well, it's not even necessarily a judgment. It's just a biological reality. When you have an abortion, you're putting foreign objects into your uterus, and you are scraping that delicate lining that is designed to sustain life. So you can not only become sterilized, which is rare, but you can also you can also damage the uterus to the point where when you want to have babies, you may have a series of miscarriages instead.
Eric Charles Ash. Okay, so we've got a, and we don't want to turn this into an abortion debate, but we can examine this line of logic. He says, how do you guys have an opinion on something we will never have to experience?
Do you have an opinion on murder? Because you will probably never be murdered.
Human life is universal, right? And so we must all universally value human life. Now, I've been a soldier. I've been engaged in the taking of life. Or protecting life as a soldier. Along those line of logic, you know, I would turn around and just from my one example, I would say, have you ever served in the military? If you haven't served in the military, you better not have an opinion on war or
Have you ever been a slave? How dare you have an opinion on slavery?
yeah. I maybe think that through. I understand the premise, my body, my right. I get it, but we don't even extend that to other things. We as a civilized society vote control over people all the time. We give government the monopoly on violence.
That is right, and 50% of the children being murdered in the womb are boys.
And if you want to understand that, if you want to understand the government's monopoly on violence, don't pay your property taxes for 2 years, or don't pay your federal income taxes for a couple of years, particularly if you have, and find out what happens. Your rights will be stripped from you rather quickly. Now, along those lines, I try to be consistent. As I've gotten older, I reject the death penalty. I think there's just been too many mistakes with that, and I think putting the government in the business of taking civilian life is generally a bad idea. And I understand the ramification of that. That may mean incarcerating someone for life, which may not be much better, but you have to value life. And it seems like at every turn, in every step, we're in such a rush to remove the value of lives, human life in all its forms. We're made in the image of our Creator, and in our short time here, it is God's will that we come to know Him, right? And come closer to Him. And it's hard to do that when you're dead or you can't be born.
Chuck Keyworth, taxation is theft. I think he wants to change the subject.
yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to dip into that. I know that's a rough thing.
No, it's all right, man. It's yeah. Well, here's a good a question I don't have an answer for. Okay. So you probably don't have one either. But just to speculate, when do you think the spirit, because we're body, soul, and spirit, right? The body is obviously there at conception. The soul is, by biblical definition, life itself. So that is there at conception. The spirit is the eternal part of us that has self-awareness and cognition. When do you think the spirit, do you think they're all just created at the same time?
I would say that they would all be created at the same time, but the spirit would be kind of latent or nascent until the consciousness manifests itself. Yeah.
Yeah, but the spirit is beyond physical. It's not like you have to wait for the brain to develop.
Yeah, right? yeah. I would say it's there, but it's nascent. It's like having coffee in a sealed up thermos. You can't smell it, you can't taste it. But when you reach that point of maturity, or that some point where little baby humans start to become self-aware, it starts to manifest itself. Because you remember your kids. How old was Elijah when he told his first lie or engaged in his first deception?
He was
probably little, yeah.
About 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the last one he told.
But even then, we know, we know what we're doing to some degree. We know that you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny, man, with Elijah. That's he lied to me. I sat him down and I gave him a speech about how I cannot trust him if he lies to me. How that is the most important thing, is that I am able to believe what comes out of his mouth. And this, I think he was 3. He might have been 4. 3 or 4. And I told him, this is going to be, I'm going to have to spank you with the max. And for me, spankings were like how old you were is 1 per. So like a 2-year-old got 2 spankings. 3-year-old got 3 spankings. And I said, I have to spank you with the max because you need to remember this for the rest of your life. This is our relationship. And when you lie, you make it impossible for me to believe you, when you're telling the truth. Man, that kid has not lied to me since. Seriously, he's 18 years old. He confesses everything he ever does wrong.
Oh, well.
He's a really good kid.
Yeah, I was about 90% of the way there with my dad. Some things I just protected him from. James Hayes
I wish
says,
Elijah would protect me from some stuff.
yeah. There's just some stuff that my dad didn't need in his head. Or I needed not to be in my father's head. Yeah.
Dude, I remember the first time he accidentally said the F word, he was just miserable about it. Miserable.
Oh, I remember the first time I said the F word. Mike, I remember that I can count the number of profane words I've said in front of my mother on one hand and still have a finger left over.
Oh, he didn't say it in front of me. He's never said a swear word in front of me. But yeah, he said it like at school or something.
Oh.
And he was just guilt-ridden until he could confess it to me.
I was 21 years old. I was in basic training. It was maybe the 3rd or 4th week there. We got a chance to use the phones, and I got a chance to call my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody around me was cussing and swearing and making so much noise, and I finally just lost it. And I'm like, can you quit effing swearing? I'm talking to my... like, dang it. Dang it, you got me.
Christian Chad for $5 says, I liked last night's auction once it was stable. Love going back and reading the chat. Any chance to make it public again? I mean, yeah, I guess I could, but I'd really want to edit it, and I haven't had time to mess around with editing. There's another video I have to edit from a couple days ago where JoJo walked in front of the door naked, so I need to up my editing skills and time. But yeah, the first however long hour of that thing is just a mess, so I don't think I want to just upload it as is. Oops. There we go.
Let's see. Eric Charles asks, oh yeah, just because you join the military does not mean jack crap. It's just a job you choose. Far from it. Far from it. I was in the infantry, and the stuff I did, while I was there, I pushed myself and the men around me and the incredible hard things I did and the challenges and the brotherhood. You learn to drive yourself so much harder than you can ever imagine. I've moved through the woods and did crazy stuff, walking 20 miles a day for a week with no sleep and very little food, and just learning how to do very hard things and existing in very hard conditions. It is not just a job. But I will agree with you that the being in the military does not necessarily make you more moral or give you any more virtue or anything like that. We still have to live our lives correctly, and we still have to think through things and reason through things and use good arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to make a cold 2020 emoji.
Eric Charles, you have very strong opinions for someone who sounds, unless you can tell me what branch you're in, I would say that you're regurgitating something that you read in a 4chan forum.
What did he say?
A lot of people
to drive like that.
Well, but you're not debating because you don't actually know the process, and you don't know what it's like, and it's hard to understand it. You can look at it academically, but
it's fun to speak out of ignorance, though.
Yeah. All right, we've only got 10 minutes left, so we better get back on topic. But man, topic is Alyssa Milano.
Sorry.
Topic is abortion. Celebration of abortion. I do not understand the drive to celebrate it, and I think all these erosions of the value of life, because it seems like one of our better achievements was more value of life up until the 19th centuries. Up until the turn of the century, and then we started engaging in these world wars, and it seems like as we got more sophisticated, we have this scientific application of the value of life, and we convince each other that certain lives don't matter, and they all need to matter, or we get to a weird place. We're going to get to a weird place, and I know, like, for instance, in places that have universal health care, Eric Charles, because I never went to college, I can have an opinion on the failed education system. Sure. All I'm saying is you don't have an informed opinion. So there's a difference between an opinion and an informed opinion. And so sometimes when I talk to people who are strongly opinionated about what the military is, or you're just following orders, or the things you have to do. Let me exercise one notion. I was in the infantry, so I was a combat soldier, right? My primary mission was to train to how to destroy things and kill people. And I was a close quarters combat instructor for several years, right? And so we practice these things. Let me dispel one notion. Everybody that goes into the military takes a test called the ASVAB test. That is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. One of the components of that test is called a GT score, and it is roughly analogous with an IQ test. Most of the men in my unit, in my company, had an IQ that was one standard deviation higher than the norm. In my particular squad, most of the men had IQs that were 2 standard deviations higher than the norm. I'm sure you understand what a standard deviation is. I got 83 on my ASVAB. Okay, not bad. I maxed it out. But what I'm trying to tell you is there's a lot of things that you may not understand, because most of the men that were in the infantry, with some small exceptions, wanted to be there, right? Because they were patriotic, or they wanted to be warriors, or they wanted to have this experience that they couldn't have anywhere else. Now, beyond what you think about maybe just following orders, there is a component to that when you're executing rapidly. When you're executing rapidly and I say, get down behind this tree, and this is your zone of fire, and anybody that comes around that corner, you shoot them. If I tell you to move up to a building and occupy a supporting position, you execute that. But you are in a highly complex environment where people where things are moving all over the place and people are trying to kill you. To think that some level of fluid intelligence, the ability to rapidly make decisions, isn't required. Civilians sometimes, particularly people who are critical of the military, have a very poor understanding of what combat is like, what the training is like, the skills that people have to learn and master. Because if you do not master the skills, you will be dead. right? It's one thing to be able to do something in an environment like this where we're just sitting here. Our heart rates aren't up. We're comfortable. The temperature's nice. It hasn't been that long since we've had food in our belly. It's an entirely another matter to execute those skills when you haven't eaten in a couple of days. Maybe you slept an hour, you slept in the mud, and your heart's beating at about 160 beats per minute, and you've lost fine motor control. And to still be able to execute those skills, that takes a lot of training and a lot of capacity. And to think that those men are just the dregs of society, to think that or that they're low skilled, or they're only in the military because that's all they could do. Anybody who stays past their first enlistment wants to be there, right? And particularly in a lot of the jobs, and this is not to take anything away from the other supporting jobs like medics or logistics or anything like that. It is a hard life. There are a lot of skills that you have to learn, right? And you have to be able to perform this day after day after day after day. When you're tired, you're sick, you have to get up. You know, there's no breaks. So, I mean, it's cool. You absolutely can have an opinion on the military. I can guarantee you that your opinion is uninformed. That doesn't mean make you a bad person. Doesn't mean you don't have something valid to put in. I can guarantee you your opinion is uninformed. Sorry for the tangent.
It's all good, bruh. It's all good. There's a new emoji if you guys want to check it out. And I'm doing one that has been requested more than once currently.
All right, what is the new emojis? Let me check the emojis. Oh, that's not the Lone Star emojis. Where did the... Hang on. All right, let's go back here. Make it big. All right, go into the emojis. Emoji. Where did my...
And by the way, Hugo, sorry, but you were attacking me, so I muted you on their streams. They'll have to figure out how to unmute you.
Yeah. Well, we typically just do not allow profanity. We do not allow profanity in the forum because most of our audience, one, are either mature or in control of their speech and their thought enough not to use it. And I would say probably about 90% of our audience doesn't enjoy that.
No.
They don't want that kind of environment. And so I apologize that you get censored here, but it's not the forum for you to take up.
He's mad because I censored him on Cecil's and Ethan's stream when I had a wrench. They've taken away my wrenches.
Oh, have they? Withheld rather not say. Withheld rather not say has found an interesting combination of emojis.
One of them's just a little square to me.
Withheld rather not say, it looks like he has a leg bone, and then the other emoji is a little gold star.
Ah, interesting.
We'll have to let that percolate.
All right. There's 2 new emojis up. These were real simple ones. I'd like to do more interesting ones, but hey, whatever. And welcome Maxime Nainville, my latest subscriber. Sorry, I don't know when she subscribed, but welcome to the party. How many more do I need to get more emojis anyways?
DJ Peterson says, I can't find the new emojis even refreshed. I couldn't find them either.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, let me double check. Overview. See more. Badges and emojis. I see them. Do I have to... Is there something else I have to do here?
I don't know, buddy.
I don't think so. Just hit refresh.
All right, you hit refresh. Refresh. Go. Survey says...
Oh, it's not working on that one.
Nada. Let's see, I'm going to put all the emojis that I see that I have access to. Is this at a different tier?
No, it shouldn't be. Hold on. Close emojis. Oh, weird.
So if you look,
Yeah, why
if
aren't
you
they
look at the
coming up?
chat, I just entered. Are you maxed out?
1, 2, 3, 4. No, I mean 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can't even see all the ones I had before. What's going on here? What's going on here? YouTube Studio.
What's going on?
What's wrong with YouTube?
And for the person who was censored for attacking, I just want you to think of one thing. None of these men are really each other's enemies. They cannot be. There is nothing Mike can do to interfere with the success of somebody else besides maybe if you had some kind of transitory temper tantrum. But I can't, Mike, I can't ever see you trying to interfere with any good thing that anyone else would do. But sometimes the hyperbole and the level of the vitriol just doesn't make sense. Mike and his peers make comic books, and most of Mike's peers delivered those comic books directly to you through a crowdfunding method, right? And so there's nothing that any of these guys can do to interfere with that process. It's not like Mark Wade and Richard C. Meyer, where you're interfering with a third party, right? So this idea about backstabbing and betrayal and being enemies, that language just is completely inaccurate and out of scale. I mean, and to put your mindset like it's okay for me to come yell at Miller because he's said some bad things about this dude I love. Well, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, unless you're related to him. Sally Toy says, who's being backstabbing? Well, I don't think anyone is. I think that language is kind of, it's out of scale. It's out of proportion.
Yeah, I don't know why these aren't. Maybe we have to restart a stream or something. I have no idea. I need 11 new members to get more emojis, though.
Let's see.
Anyways.
Is lady going out? Did someone say goodbye?
Yeah. All right, lady. We'll see you on the flip side. See you Monday or later tonight, whatever. Withheld says, if I finally do a stream, I'm inviting Mike and EVS to pros I like. Bye, lady. And we are over an hour.
Oh, and I was sorry to take it up. I'm sorry to take up cross-examinations with Army Talk, Mark.
That's all right. This show goes all over the place. I do have to, like when I talk to people at church and I'm like, hey, have you watched it? It's like I'm always like, sorry, it kind of goes all over the place sometimes. I try to focus it on being edifying and building the church, but sometimes the topic goes where the topic goes. So, thank you for your service, sir.
Well, thank you for paying taxes.
I do my best not to, but I do want to stay out of jail. Men with guns.
Yes.
All right,
yes,
and I guess that's it for today. Thanks everybody for being here. God bless you all. Hope you have a great Sunday. If you don't have a home fellowship, then or a church, then find one. There are good churches out there, so just find one. We have a plethora, and no, there's no such thing as a perfect church.
No, there's not.
So just maybe once in a while you're gonna have to grin and bear and deal with the fact that you disagree with something.
Yes.
Or you don't enjoy some old Baptist hymnal, whatever.
Find a church, and if it's not for you, find a better one. But please do go fellowship and worship. It is for God, but it's also for you.
Yeah, plug yourself in. Anyways, thanks everybody for being here again. Love to you all, and have a great Sunday. See you on Monday.
Aloha.
Have a cold 2020. It's totally worth it.